we're going to get started because that's the way we go. All right. Sorry, there's just a bunch of settings to play with. There we go. Can you see my screen okay, Duncan? All right. Well, everybody else will be coming when they're coming, and if not, they'll watch on replay. So thank you for being here. I am grateful to have you here. I am walking you through today my process to run what I call mini mighty masterclasses that grow your audience of buyers on Facebook and turn it into 10K months consistently. I know I've talked to a number of you, and hitting 10K months once in a while isn't really a big problem. It's the consistency. And this is the formula, the roadmap to those consistent 10K months. And I'm going to walk you through that process today. So as we go, if you have questions, if you could just either make a note or put them in the chat, I have time for Q&A at the end, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have at the end. I would appreciate that. And so I'm going to show you how to create a buyer ecosystem on Facebook that can generate multiple 4 or 5 figure months without relying on referrals or ads. And referrals are great, don't get me wrong. I love referrals. I love when people think of me and recommend me to their friends or other clients or colleagues. But that takes it out of my hands and I'm relying on somebody else. And so this system allows you to take control of your business, of your revenue, and we are going to implement it on repeat. And that's how we get to the consistency in our recurring revenue. So, but first, I want to just take a minute and tell you a little bit about how I started, how this started, who I am, because it's easy for anybody to just get online these days and say anything. I want to share just a little bit with you. It won't take long, of why you might want to listen to me. I started my business in 2010. So I've been doing this for 15 years. I started with the intention of using social media. Social media was very new at the time, and that was my goal, was to use social media. I was hearing so much about it in 2010 that I thought, ooh, this is something that sounds really interesting to me. So I've been using all social media for, well, longer than 15 years, because I actually was on since 2007, 2008. It was just in 2010 that I started thinking about actually making money from this. And I started out by hosting in-person 3-hour workshops for local business owners that I met through the Chamber of Commerce and networking events who were wanting to start leveraging this social media thing that was out there. So I was teaching 3-hour workshops. I think I was charging $97 for the workshops, and I was teaching them how to set up Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and how to start using those platforms. Then I transitioned into social media management because people were saying to me, I've taken your workshop, but I still don't want to do it. Can you do it for me? So I started saying yes to that and started helping people by creating content and managing their platforms for them. Then in 2015, I discovered Facebook ads, and everything kind of shifted at that point. I stopped doing social media and just focused on Facebook and added in the Facebook ads piece to it. So I've been running Facebook ads for myself, for clients since 2015 as well. The thing is, though, I was always working way too much. I was stressed out way too much. I slept way too little. And as a single mom who was homeschooling my kids, I missed out on a lot of fun with my kids. Because if I was with my kids, I felt guilty that I wasn't working. If I was working, I felt guilty that I wasn't with my kids. And I remember on a rainy Friday afternoon, such as today, and the two kids going squirrely and bouncing off the walls, and me saying, okay, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese where they could have a bunch of fun. And I took my computer and I bought them tickets and they went and played and they had food there. And I got a glass of their terrible wine and sat at a booth and worked and they would just come over and dump their tickets with me and collect more coins. And they had a great time, but it's not how I wanted to spend my time with them. But I couldn't get off my computer because I just had to keep working. I just had to keep doing more to produce more, to ensure the revenue, to make sure that everybody was happy. But I was struggling every month to find new clients and to make ends meet. I was getting referrals, or I had to go to networking events and I had to meet new people. And I had to always be putting out new proposals and getting into meetings with people and calls and going to their offices. It was just an endless hamster wheel of stress. Anybody else ever felt that way or been there? But then I started creating this ecosystem of buyers. I grew my audience of buyers. I created a lead magnet. Well, to be fair, a number of lead magnets over the years, for sure. This isn't something that you just do once, but initially I created probably a dozen lead magnets, what I thought people wanted. And they didn't do what they were supposed to do. So I just kept creating until I figured out exactly how to create a lead magnet that actually attracted the right people to me, filtered out non-buyers, but actually brought in people who were ready to ascend, who wanted more than what was in a freebie, were ready to invest and move farther down my path that I was creating. So I finally started creating lead magnets that filtered out non-buyers and attracted real prospects to me. Then I started creating client-facing experiences. Now, years ago, it was, 5-day challenges, then it was 3-day challenges. Now, I still will do a 3-day or 4-day challenge occasionally, but really my focus is these kinds of what I'm calling the mini Mighty Masterclasses. I love alliteration that positions me as the obvious choice and invites people into my high ticket program. And that's when everything really started shifting because you don't need to have a massive event with hundreds or thousands of people in attendance. There's a lot of moving parts to that. There's a lot of tech to that. There's a lot of pieces, and it's overwhelming and exhausting. And I know because I ran a challenge, a 3 to 5 day challenge every month for the better part of 3 years by myself in a one woman show. It's a lot of work. It's exhausting. And you're always wanting to bring in such a massive number of people in order to make the sales that you want. But when I started following a formula that I've created around filling these small, intimate, interactive masterclasses, that's when everything started to shift. Okay? The reality is that nothing happens without challenges. So I'm not saying that, I just did this once and I cracked a code and everything was smooth sailing ever since. However, it's the seeing the challenge and not letting it stop you and figuring out a solution to the challenge where the cream rises to the top and the people who are really dedicated and committed get the results faster. Okay. So some of the challenges that I see amazing course creators and coaches are struggling with these days are not being sure how to find buyers on Facebook. Let me know in the chat if any of these resonate with you as we go through them. You could just type the number in if it's something that you're experiencing. So, they've got their friends list. They maybe have a group of 100 people. They maybe have a few hundred people on a business page. But this is a platform of 3 billion people. 100 people here and there is not going to create a sustainable business. So they're struggling to find buyers. They're using strategies and tactics that maybe work once in a while, but aren't consistent and takes the ownership out of their hands. Another thing I see them struggling with is not dialing in their messaging to fully express the transformation that they provide. So they're speaking about features. They aren't speaking about the transformation. And I see this a lot with people that I work with where they don't want to sound like they're saying, oh, well, this is what's going to happen for you, because they feel like then if it doesn't happen, they're going to be held accountable or responsible if somebody doesn't get the result. That's an inner work piece. Another struggle that I see coaches having is they're not having a high value client attracting lead magnet that positions them as the expert they are. They've created a lead magnet, but it is rather generic and it is just attracting anybody, freebie seekers. It's not attracting really intentional prospects into their worlds. Another struggle I see them having is not having a high value experience that positions them as the obvious choice. So getting clients becomes really hard because they don't have a sales mechanism that actually positions them as the expert and invites people. They're hoping, right? There's too much hoping and praying in their marketing. Their marketing is too subtle. Their marketing is too filled with industry words that they're speaking in jargon, and they're not creating this experience that people want to be part of. And the biggest struggle I think I see the coaches and the course creators in my world are having is they just don't know how to sell in a way that feels authentic and fully integrates their heart and their soul. So they just don't do it. They see strategies that make them feel uncomfortable. They're told to do things that they don't want to do that really is so far out of their comfort zone that it feels inauthentic. And so they don't do it. And I'm all for getting out of your comfort zone, but it's still got to be something that you're going to do on repeat because, Michael Phelps didn't win, what, 8 gold medals the first time he got in the pool, right? Tony Robbins didn't fill a stadium the first time he held an event. Um, it's, any of the big bands that are out there that are selling out stadiums, they didn't do that the first time. They kept going. They mastered their art. They mastered the art of performance in order to attract people, right? So we need to find the way to sell that feels authentic and really integrates our heart. And then things starts to shift. All right. So put in the chat any of those that resonate with you. Let me know. And full disclosure, nothing will change until you do. So if what you've been doing in 2025 has felt very heavy, lots of resistance, you've been struggling, your content isn't resonating with people, you aren't getting people reaching out to you, or you don't have a list of prospects that you can reach out to, it's time to do something different. Right? Last night actually was the full moon in Gemini, and 2025 has been the year of the snake, and it's been all about shedding and releasing and letting go of what didn't work so that we could be ready to step into 2026, which is the year of the horse. And horses love to race. And it always makes me think of my days working at the racetrack, horse racetrack in Edmonton. And those horses love to run. And so it's time for you to do something different. It's time for you to show up differently. It's time for you to be supported in your goals. So at the end of this training, I will be making an invitation to you to where some of you will want to work with me deeper and have me help you build this system out for you. And I'll let you know when I'm about to do that, because if you are not ready, if you aren't interested, then you're absolutely welcome to leave at that point. If you don't want to hear what the offer is, that's not a problem. There'll be no judgment on my part. I want you to have this information. I want you to walk away and implement some of this if you can. If you want to go at it on your own, you just go right ahead. I'm totally fine with that. But for some of you, the next step is working with me, and I do have a very attractive offer for you. So if you want to stay till the end, then I'll be happy to share all of that with you. The biggest challenge I see most coaches and course creators make is they either don't know how to sell their program on repeat on Facebook, or they're unwilling to do what it takes to sell their program on repeat. And so I wonder, are you brave enough to admit which one of these resonates with you? A lot of people I know say, well, I don't want to talk about it again. I already just talked about it last week. I've already put it out there. I've already said it. I don't need to say it again. But that's completely untrue. In fact, these days, more than ever, with the amount of people on Facebook, the amount of content being created on Facebook, the amount of fake content being created on Facebook, the amount of ads being run on Facebook. We need to say it every day. But we can say it in a way that doesn't feel icky, right? So they either don't know how to sell their program in a way that works on Facebook, or they're unwilling to. And that's okay. I'm not judging anybody. There was a time when somebody said to me, email your list every day. And I went, whoa, I can't do that. And I didn't do that until I said I could do it. And then I did do it. And now I do it. So it's okay. There's no judgment here. The thing is, if you don't take the first step to change this, nothing will change. So I'm not saying leap from never emailing my list to emailing, every day. I'm not saying never offering your program to spamming people with your offer every single day. Take a step. Take one small step. If you pull one thing out of this lesson, out of this training today, implement that on repeat, and you will see a change. Understand that just because you do something today doesn't mean tomorrow you're going to make a $5,000 sale. But it does mean that you have a better chance of it. And a perfect example of that is a client that I was talking to on Tuesday on our coaching call. And she said, I haven't made a sale in a while. My company is out of business, out of money, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And then we met again on Thursday. She used one of her SOS calls. So we met again on Thursday. So we made a plan on Tuesday. We met again on Thursday. And she said, I just got off the phone with somebody who wants to buy 3 of my programs for her and 2 friends. And in 48 hours, she went from, I don't know what I'm going to do, to, oh, that could be a $3,000 sale in a matter of 48 hours, because she wasn't alone. She didn't fall into the pit of her own despair, her own thoughts. She used her coach to help her reframe her thinking and create action steps for what she's going to do. Now, that's because she didn't host an event in that 48 hours, but because she's hosted events in the past, she had a list of prospects she could go back to. Okay? So just take a small step. So whether you need a strategy to sell that feels good for your soul, in your soul, or just to get out of your own way and actually sell without fear, then this is for you. Because this is about using Facebook as a tool to help you help more people, sell more of your offers, and make the kind of money that you desire. And it's not that you've been lazy or that there's anything wrong with you or that there's anything wrong with your offer. You know that it works, and you've likely had great results, at least for yourself, if not for others. You just don't have a system that you do on repeat. So what beliefs are holding you back? Go ahead and pop that in the chat. What beliefs are holding you back? I know I have spent far too many years, far too much time in my business thinking, I can't do this. People will laugh. Who am I? Why would anyone listen to me? I'm not good enough. I've spent way too much time entertaining those thoughts. We all have them. But what's the cost to you if you don't change this? Things are going to just stay the same. So it's a repeatable system. We grow your audience of real buyers. That means your Facebook profile, your business page, your Facebook group. We are selective. We have specific procedures that we use to bring the right people into your world so that your content speaks to them. We dial in your content strategy so that it activates those people. They don't just read it passively and scroll by. We're activating people into action. Then we create a lead magnet that we offer on repeat. I bet you all have lead magnets that sit on your website with an opt-in box, and you think people get to your website and they'll grab it. But how do they get to your website? And how are you talking about it? So now we're going to talk about your lead magnet on Facebook in a way that activates the right people and filters out the wrong people, so that they'll take action. Okay? And then as we grow that audience, we are going to host client-facing experiences that position you as the obvious choice and sell your high-ticket offer. Sound good? Let me get a hell yeah in the chat. Okay? This is the process that we do on repeat. And when we have 3 steps, first off, hallelujah, that is so much lighter than the hundreds and thousands of steps I hear other people talking about. We don't need to make it complicated. We don't need a ton of heavy tech. We just need to do this over and over. So every day, steps to grow your audience. Every day, steps to promote your lead magnet. Every day, steps to invite people into your client-facing experience. And then we just keep going day after day after day. So let me just for a moment tell you about Brenda, okay? Brenda is a member of my Six-Figure Success Mentorship, which is a membership that I have. And she created a free workshop that was 3 days that she ran, and then she sold a 3-day low ticket, and then she sold her high ticket offer from that. She wanted it to be a little bit more complicated, but that's how it worked for her. Now, she did that. She had 19 people sign up. We're not talking masses of numbers, but 6 people showed up live. All of those 6 people bought her paid offer. 4 of them upgraded and took the offer bump. She then refined her event. We worked on creating a better way to invite people, inviting the right people, a better way to host it. We refined everything. And then the next time she ran it, she had $3,000 in revenue in a week. And then she did it a month later again and had the same result. Plus, she has had private clients come out of that because her visibility has increased, her audience has increased. People have purchased other programs, people have signed up for other things that aren't even included in that $3,000 she made. So that's $6,000 in 2 events, plus other things. Because when you show up as the authority that you are and you host something on repeat, people go, oh, this is who they are. This is who they stand for. If you do it once, they go, that's interesting, but now what are you going to be doing? Because they're expecting you to switch it up. But when you get consistent, then they can get consistent. Okay? So let's talk about why growing your audience of buyers is so important. Because first off, there's 3 billion people on Facebook. Okay? But you can't reach all of those people. The algorithm is going to make sure you don't. But Facebook is fed by 2 things, and only 2 things: either money in your ads or engagement on your content. Now, most people post and pray. They don't have a strategy. They just throw content up and it's value and it's worthwhile and it's deep and it's meaningful and it's speaking in jargon that only you understand, and nothing happens because it doesn't build connection. But there's a few reasons why this doesn't work, right? First off, your content is not speaking to the desires that they want. It's written and it's created for you, not for your reader. But then, if you don't have enough people in your world, you just aren't going to have enough people seeing the content. If you don't have the right people in your world, then you're going to have a bunch of wrong people seeing your content. And if you don't have a system that moves those people who do comment into the next step, you are leaving the control of the growth of your business to chance. And I want to channel my control freak energy into something that actually works for me. Okay, so I want to make sure I have the right people in my world, that I have enough people in my world, that I'm creating content that activates them. And then when they're activated, I have something next for them to do. It's not just engagement for the hell of engagement. Okay. Now, when you grow your audience with real prospects, you can get leads from every single post. How about that? Where people are calling themselves out, they're raising their hands, and you have a system to follow up, figure out where they need to go next, and then give them that opportunity. Now, that's just your content. But let's talk about your lead magnet. Let's talk about why your lead magnet is collecting dust in your hard drive and no one claims it. Because you created it based on what you think people need to hear, not what they actually want. It wasn't created to guide people to actually work with you. It was just created as a static, standalone thing to get people onto your email list. And then you hoped that your occasional once a month emails would actually do something for them. And it doesn't inspire people to take action. It doesn't actually make them want the next step. And you don't actively promote it. I have never met an entrepreneur who says, I promote my lead magnet every single day, unless they're running ads. So when you promote your lead magnet that inspires and activates your audience, you get ready to buy clients, not just freebie seekers. And then you get to have the next step for them to take. And then we want to be creating that client-facing experience that wows and compels your prospects to take action. There is no trust recession. I am so tired of hearing people talk about, oh, there's a trust recession. There isn't. There is just an opportunity for us to connect in a meaningful way and position yourself as the only choice. People are still trusting. People are still buying. The people that aren't getting sales aren't building the trust. It used to be between 2020 and 2023 that everybody just trusted everything they heard and read on the internet. And so they were just throwing money. Now they had more disposable income. Life felt easier. Since 2023, things have been getting a little bit heavier. They've been feeling more like a grind. People are watching their money a little bit more closely. Everything is a bit more expensive, right? But they've also been burned by people who lied in their marketing. And so now they're not distrustful, but they aren't ridiculously blindly trusting anymore. That's not a trust recession. That is an opportunity. That's an opportunity for you and me to show up and build the trust that they need in order to invest. And they are investing every day in people who are taking the time to do that. Okay, so now let's talk about your client-facing experience. Duncan, you've been very, very quiet, so I hope if you're comfortable unmuting, then we could do a little bit of back and forth here, but if not, that's totally fine. But maybe in the chat, or if you want to unmute, you could tell me what your high ticket offer is that you'd like to create a client-facing event for. Now, just a few points about this. You don't have to have something that's $25,000. If you have a $3,000 offer, then we can create a client-facing event for you. And you can host that event every month and sell that offer. Okay? Now, $3,000 offer is maybe more than you've sold before, but maybe not. Now, if you're looking to hit those consistent 10K months and you've got a $5,000 offer, you literally need to hold one client-facing experience a month. Invite 50 to 100 people, get 10, 15 people to show up, and you make 2 sales, and there's your 10K month. Done. Easy, right? So what's the price point of your high ticket offer? And then you can do the math. If I have a $3,000 offer that I need to sell 3.5, 4 of those a month, I'll be over 10K a month. Okay, let's reverse engineer that. How many people do we need showing up? How many people do we need watching the replay? How many people do we need to invite? This is the work that we do. It's the numbers that we pay attention to. And then how do we follow up with those people? The follow-up is the key. right? That's where the magic sauce is. Okay. And what is the one biggest outcome that people have when they buy your offer? Because if you have helped people have that outcome, then that's the outcome to speak to share it with other people. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let me know if you have questions. So, how many steps are there in your offer for the transformation to happen? If you're going to tell me 50 steps, that's going to be a problem because that's overwhelming. People want simple. People want quick results. People want to see that they can get the results. There's three things people need in order to invest with you at any price point. They need to believe you. They need to believe that it's possible, and then they need to believe that they can do the work. That's not going to be as easy to do if it's 50 steps. Now, there might be 50 steps, but we're going to break it down so that we aren't telling them about 50 steps. We're going to tell them about the main steps that makes it believable. And then we're going to guide them in our coaching, in our service that we offer. And then we want to focus on what are those most juiciest steps that your best prospects want. That's going to be the outline, the foundation of your client-facing experience, right? Now, the way to hit consistent 10K months and beyond is by having a repeatable event that you run, review, revise. Run it again on repeat. Okay? This is how we actually get to consistent 10K months. When I see people say, well, I'm inconsistent in my revenue, I once in a while hit 10K months, I can almost always guarantee that the reason why their revenue is inconsistent is because their marketing is inconsistent. So if you want to have consistent revenue, you get to be consistent in order to achieve it. Look at some of the big players in the world. Look at as we go into the holiday season, look at Walmart. They're going to have an ad in every ad break on TV from now until Christmas, right? That's consistency. That's how they make their sales. That's how they become the obvious choice. That's how they become the only option for people. All right, Q&A time. And then I'm going to move into sharing some results that people have had with you and this incredible opportunity that I have. If you have questions, if you can't unmute, you can put them in the chat. All right. So I'm going to keep going, but if you have questions, Duncan, let me know. Let me tell you about Jody. Now, I'm going to preface this and let you know we did run ads for Jody. So there were ads in play here. But she followed the system. She came to me exhausted because she had created a bear of a system that just was grinding her down. There was so many moving parts. There were so many pieces. She was over delivering. She was speaking way too much about the process, and she was giving too much at the beginning, and she wasn't activating people, and she wasn't really clear about the transformation. So yes, we used ads to fill her event, her client-facing experience, because she wanted to hit some specific numbers. But most importantly, we got really consistent. She followed the system. She made the right offer. We cut back on the over-delivering too soon, and we focused and prioritized on the high value delivering, the high result delivering, okay? And she spent a total of $1,500 in ads over 2 months. And she ran her events once a month. And she had a $70,000 launch. Now, this is one of those big pie in the sky results. So I'm not going to tell you that everybody's going to have the same result. Okay. She had been doing this for a long time. She had a lot of pieces in place. She needed some tweaks to systems and procedures. And then she hit her pace, right? She hit that sweet spot. Then there was Kelly, who was really struggling to make sales. She was really struggling to figure out how to connect with people. She was not growing her audience. She had all kinds of the wrong people in her audience. She didn't know exactly how to talk about what she was offering. She was talking about how many calls you were getting every month and how long the calls were and how long the recording was. And she was talking about the system that she was giving them, not the transformation. But she came to her coaching calls. She asked questions. She was extremely coachable. And in 1 week, she created $7,000 following this foundational system that we're talking about here today. Then there's Katerina, who came to me in the same situation, just did not know how to talk about how she actually helps people in a way that activated them to take action. And when we made some changes to that so that her content and her offers and the way she was speaking of things really was dialed in, she earned $14,000 in 1 month just by switching up those things. Then there's Sandra, who came to me and she was over delivering to the max. This is a woman with a really big heart who just wants to give and thinks like a lot of us. If I give a lot, then people will see my value and then they'll buy because they'll know that they're going to get even more. But it doesn't work that way. But she got really clear. She was very coachable. We really pared down what she was talking about and how she was talking about it and how she was following up with people. She grew her community. She sold out her 3-day event and she generated more income in 1 week of 2021 than she did in all of 2020. Huge, huge results. And I just want to give you a little bit of background. I doubled my business in 2020. I grew my page to over 60,000 real prospects. I generate over $20,000 a month from Facebook. I grew my email list to over 6,000 people. And I work about 15 to 20 hours a week following this foundational system. Now, these results are available for you as well. And if you're ready to just no longer do this alone and to say yes to consistent efforts that result in consistent 10K months or beyond, then you are invited to join me in the Daily Sales Academy. Now, this is one of the last times I will be offering this as a one-on-one opportunity where you and I will get to work together, just you and me together. Come January, this offer is going to be a small group offer, and then we will be putting together groups of 5 or 6 people, and we will be doing it as a group. There will be no one-on-one component. So this is a very special offer for you today because I only have 4 spots before the end of the year that I can take to help build this system. So the Daily Sales Academy is for you if you dream of doing your business differently than you've been doing it in the past. If you want to prioritize yourself and your family over the grind. If you aren't and don't want to ever be part of that 4 a.m. club, I'm so tired of hearing about that. If you're not one of those bros, if you have a big mission to change the world, if you want a business that provides you the abundance and the freedom you desire to run it anywhere in the world, if you want to set your own rules and never let anyone else tell you to shut down your awesomeness ever again. It's also for you if you are tired of trying to figure everything out on your own, if you're tired of working 24/7 and missing out on other things you'd like to be doing, if you want more out of your life than you've got right now, if you're ready to do the work that works and stop grinding, doing things that aren't getting you the result you want. Now is the time for a different result for you, for your business, for your family, for your life. In the Daily Sales Academy, you get the audience growth formula so that you will grow your audience with ready to buy prospects, very specific daily steps every day that you will take to bring in the right people to your world so that the right people are seeing your content. You'll get the client closing lead magnet process where we will build a specific client closing lead magnet with you to help you sell your high ticket program, not just to bring tire kickers into your email list. This will repel the wrong people, attract the right people, and grow your list with ready to buy warm prospects. Okay. And then we will create a client-facing experience that makes you the only choice and sells your high ticket offer. And together, we're going to create it. I'm going to walk you through the process on how to fill it, how to invite the right people, how to get people to show up, how to follow up with those people so that you are the only option to them and you sell your high ticket offer to them. There's no more going it alone. No more winging it, hoping something works. No more piecemealing together bits and pieces from a variety of experts. No more wondering where your next client is coming from. Because in 90 days together, we will turn your Facebook presence into a client acquisition engine that brings buyers to you on repeat. We will create a lead magnet that filters out non-buyers and builds a list of warm, ready clients. And we will build a client-facing experience that positions you as the obvious choice and converts into your high-ticket program. By the end of the 90 days, you will have a fully functioning Facebook buyer ecosystem that brings you clients without ads, funnels, or complicated tech. Now, as I said, this is the last time I'm offering this one-on-one. I have a very special bonus for you today. When you join the Daily Sales Academy today, and you will get the rest of December to work with me as a bonus. So your time, your 90 days with me doesn't start until January 1st. Sign up today and we will meet early next week and get started on building your first mini mighty masterclass that you can host before Christmas so that you will get clients before the end of the year and sail into 2026 with the start of a formula that will change your business in 2026. Your 90 days will start on January 1st, but we will start today. Now, to get an opportunity to apply for this mentorship, I will invite you to book a 10-minute call with me. You've got the foundation. If you are sure that this is right for you and you want to move forward, hop on a 10-minute call. I've got a link I'll give you in the chat. Hop on a 10-minute call, apply for mentorship. Let's have a quick conversation, get you signed up, get started next week. Pick a day for your first Mighty Mini Masterclass, and let's go. And then you can be like Ava, who in the end had 5 people sign up for a program that she had never created or offered before in 1 week from following this exact strategy and has done it over and over and over again. Now I'll stop my share and I will share the link in the chat with you to book that session. And if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat or unmute and let me answer them. Let me help you out. And let me just find out where I am again. I had to look away. Let me put this in the chat. All right. If you are ready to create your first client-facing experience before the end of the year, book your 10-minute call with me. I'll answer any questions that you have last minute. We'll get you signed up. We'll get the date of your onboarding call with me where we will plan out your first event, schedule a date, and we'll walk through the steps for you to fill that and make sales before Christmas. And then on January 1st, we'll start with the full 90-day process. Any questions? All right. I will love you and leave you. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for you. I will see you kick ass on Facebook in 2026.